60,000 IT employees have lost their jobs in the past 1 year.
For the last few years, every January has started with the same headline, the year of layoffs. This is the largest layoff in the history of TCS, which brings us to the question, is artificial intelligence behind all of these layoffs?
Infosys cut more than 26,000, Wipro about 24,000 and TCS nearly 14,000. Even smaller firms like Tech Mahindra and HCL have quietly trimmed thousands more. The hiring freeze has spread across the sector with offers either delayed or cancelled altogether. And it's not just about layoffs. The industry's growth has slumped from 3.8% in FY24, the slowest in over a decade. Net new jobs fell from 2.9 lakhs to just 60,000, while software export growth turned negative for the first time in years. And this is not a temporary dip. The structure of the work itself is changing and companies are now rethinking how many people do they actually need. But what's behind this collapse? Why are India's biggest tech employers suddenly shrinking when global demand for digital work is still rising? And what does this mean for everyone who build their career around IT? Let's find out. There was a time when India's IT industry looked unstoppable. Every year, thousands of students were placed from engineering colleges into companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, and Tech Mahindra. This was seen as a safe path, with steady income, steady promotions, and a steady life. The industry kept growing because clients abroad needed reliable work at lower costs. But that rhythm has started to break. In the last 1 year, every major IT firm has trimmed its workforce. Infosys, Wipro, and TCS together have seen more than 60,000 employees leave in FY24. Campus placements are at a 20-year low. Growth that once stayed above 7 to 8% has now fallen to 3.8% in 2024, the weakest in more than a decade. A recent Goldman Sachs report says that the sector is showing early signs of stabilization, but the outlook ahead looks weak. For FY26, growth is expected to crawl at just about 1.1%, with only a small recovery to 5.4% the following year. In simple terms, there is no clear demand pipeline, no strong visibility, and no guarantee that hiring will pick up anytime soon. The industry that once grew effortlessly is now struggling to just hold its ground. Inside companies, the atmosphere feels different. Projects that once required big teams now run with smaller ones. The old system of hiring large batches of freshers, training them, and keeping them on the bench has almost disappeared. New offers are delayed and replacement hiring has slowed down. Even mid-level employees are being asked to manage more work with lesser people. Productivity numbers look better, but that's because people have been stretched thin. And this cycle isn't like anything that we've seen before. This isn't just one bad quarter or weak demand from abroad. Something deeper is changing. Over the last 2 years, companies have started depending more on automation and AI tools. Tasks that once required freshers like writing basic code, testing software, or fixing bugs are now handled faster by machines. What used to take entire teams is now being managed by smaller groups using these tools. AI hasn't just made the work faster, it has changed the kind of work that needs to be done. And that's really what's behind this slowdown. When machines can do simpler parts of the project, companies only need specialists, people who can design, think, and solve. The rest of the workforce is struggling to find its place. IT hiring overall is down by 20 to 30% even before the full impact of AI disruption has arrived. Recruiters say companies are holding back until and unless they figure out how many people they'll actually need in this new setup. And this isn't just true for India. Reports from Goldman Sachs estimate that generative AI could expose the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs to automate worldwide. The McKinsey Global Institute projects that by 2030, between 400 million and 800 million people globally could be displaced by automation and need to find new jobs. What's happening in Indian IT is a very small part of a much larger change happening across the globe. For many, this is the first time the future seems so uncertain. The IT job that once meant stability now comes with many questions and no one seems to have clear answers to them. In the past, a fresh IT engineer's day would start with a checklist of tasks. Write basic code, debug a module, run tests, fix bugs, and support operations. These allowed companies to scale by hiring large batches of freshers, training them fast, and placing them in projects abroad. That system kept the people employed and the whole industry moving forward. Today, those entry points are shrinking. A recent study found that employment among young workers in roles exposed to AI, like junior developers, testers, and support engineers has fallen by around 16% since 2022. Employers are no longer hiring large group of freshers because their work can easily be done by tools and machines. Looking at how companies make money also shows that change. Leading IT firms like TCS, Infosys, and HCL Technologies have reported revenue per employee figures in the range of $50,000 to $61,000 in recent years. For example, Infosys posted about $60,000 per employee and HCL around $61,000. What this means is that fewer people are required to do more work because the tools behind them are much stronger. And according to a survey of Indian workers, 7 in 10 employees now say that they use AI in their work life for tasks such as idea validation and problem solving. This shows that AI is not some future threat. It's very much a part of how work gets done now. When routine tasks are automated, companies reduce the number of people they need in those roles. They invest more in the tools and fewer in fresh bodies. The jobs pool that fed the system for decades, junior coders, testers, support staff, bench trainees, is shrinking. What remains are roles that require domain knowledge, problem solving, creative reasoning, and human judgment. The slowdown isn't only about fewer projects and lower demand. It's because the core structure of IT work has changed. The industry is trying to adjust, but the people who build their careers on the old system are now the ones feeling the pain first. And the truth is, while the work is changing, our colleges are not. The system still prepares students for jobs that barely exist now. The truth is, India's education system was not built for this kind of job market. Colleges still focus on marks and not real skills. Students are taught to memorize and not to build or solve. And when these students finally reach the industry, they realize that the outside world doesn't reward what they spent years learning. A 2024 parliamentary panel report shows that almost every IIT except one recorded a drop in BTech placements. NITs and top private colleges have seen the same trend. Even students from elite campuses are struggling, which says a lot about what's happening below that level. Recruiters are now looking for portfolios, real-time projects, and problem-solving abilities, but most graduates never build anything outside exams. The skill gap is really massive. A recent survey showed that 83% of engineering graduates in India are struggling to find jobs. And that's not because there aren't enough job openings, it's because most graduates lack the applied technical skills that the new job market demands. A recent Money Control report called it the learning gap, earning gap. While India produces over 1.5 million engineering graduates every year, only a small fraction meet industry standards for applied tech skills like AI, data pipelines, or cloud computing. Companies can't find the skills that they need, and students can't find jobs that they studied for. This mismatch has become a big problem. Offer letters are delayed for months. Freshers who thought they had jobs lined up are still waiting, and many mid-level professionals are also feeling the pressure. They spent years doing the same kind of work, documentation, testing, reporting, only to realize AI can now do it faster and cheaper. The skills that once made them valuable are now losing relevance. For families, the emotional cost is heavy. IT jobs used to mean stability, but now it brings anxiety and debt. According to multiple financial reports, India's middle-class debt has grown by 23% since 2023 as people borrow to maintain the same lifestyle even when salaries stagnate or jobs vanish. The stress is showing up in homes and mental health levels too. A Times of India article described rising cases of financial anxiety, especially among urban professionals who suddenly feel replaceable. This is what happens when a system doesn't evolve fast enough. Students are being trained for jobs that no longer exist. Workers are being blamed for skills they were never taught, and families that trusted the old promise of stability are now paying the price. Still, there is a way forward if we start preparing now. The slowdown has made one thing very clear. The only way forward is to keep learning. The system around us might be slow to adapt, but individuals can move faster. The people who will do well in this new world are the ones that treat learning as a lifelong habit and not a phase that ends after college. The first step is to stop seeing AI as a threat, but rather as a tool. Learn how it works, try it on small projects, and understand how it can make your work better. A simple 90-day plan can change everything. Pick one real-world problem, build a project using AI or automation, and show your process publicly. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to prove that you can apply what you learn. The The second step is to choose the right skills. Market today rewards people who understand machine learning basics, cloud platforms, data pipelines, and machine learning operations. You don't have to master everything, but you should be able to connect technology with real-life problems. Employers now care way less about your degree and care more about what you can actually build. It's also important to manage your money during uncertain times. Keep at least 6 months of savings as a safety net. Continue investing regularly so that even when work slows down, your money keeps growing. Start investing early, even if it's small amounts. You can easily start an SIP and track your goals on Grow, which helps you plan, invest, and stay consistent even when income feels uncertain. Even a 2,000 rupee SIP on Grow, growing at roughly 12% a year, can turn into nearly 5 lakhs in 10 years. That's how steady investing adds up quietly. Think of learning and investing as the same thing. Both give you freedom over time. Finally, the change can't be left to individuals alone. The system also needs to evolve. Colleges should focus on project-based evaluation instead of rote exams. Companies can also offer upskilling programs instead of just cutting jobs. Both the government and industry need to fund retraining programs for professionals whose jobs are disappearing. The future will not be built by people who memorize, but rather by people who create. The old promise is stable jobs might be disappearing, but it's being replaced by a new promise, the promise to build work that actually matters. The last few years have shown us that no job, no company, and no industry is truly safe. But they've also shown us something else. People who keep learning never really fall behind. Yes, the system is broken in parts. Colleges are outdated, hiring has slowed down, and automation is moving faster than anyone expected. But individual reinvention is still in your hands. The tools that replace jobs are the same tools that can help you build new ones. So start small, learn something new, learn something real, and stay curious. Because in the end, the future won't belong to people who memorized answer. It will belong to the people who kept asking better questions. If this video helped you understand what's happening in the IT industry, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below which skill you're planning to learn next. And remember, the era of easy jobs might be over, but the era of meaningful works has just started.